Well, airlines are running at just 6% of their capacity now that some essential and business travel is allowed under the easing of lockdown regulations. Several South African airlines are in business rescue and they need bailouts. To be fair, not entirely due to COVID-19 lockdowns, but some carriers had long-standing issues. Fly Safair says it believes there's more authorities can do to help out local airlines that are battling, which could include some payment holidays or discounts from other state-run institutions, which could help them weather the COVID-19 storm. For more on this, we're joined by Fly Safair CEO Elmar Conradie. Elmar, good evening to you. If you're running at 6% capacity, if the entire industry is running at 6% capacity, I mean, there's no way you can keep running like that. What kind of help do you need?
The quote of 2020, you're on mute. Yeah, absolutely. There's no ways any airline can keep on running on these reduced capacities and the limited number of flights that we're allowed to operate at this stage. So we definitely need help. I mean, we've been saying we totally understand that government needs to do the right thing to try and curb the spread of the virus. But at the same time, the airline industry needs some kind of assistance from government. And as you mentioned, I think one of those things that they could do is to assist us through a reduction of the government fees and charges and taxes.
I mean, in other words, you'd need them to support you through AXA, through the airports company.
Yes, that's right. But it's not just the airports. There's also the Civil Aviation Authority, air traffic and navigation systems. There's the weather services, and then there's normal tax. There's VAT, there's normal tax, pay-as-you-earn tax, carbon emissions tax, which is a new thing that the airlines, particularly this year, would have been hit hard by. So there's quite a few things where we can reduce the expenditure on the airline side so that we can try and recover a little bit quicker.
If you're running at 6% capacity, there's got to be a question about why any airline would run at all during this time, and I realise that for you is quite a difficult decision to make.
So we actually are running on about 25% of what we used to fly. The reason why the 6% is so much lower is obviously because there's no international flights at this stage. And also we don't have Comair or SAA flying, and a lot of the other airlines are flying on a much reduced schedule. Whether we should fly or not is something we debated at length. The reason why we eventually decided we have to fly is because the aviation industry is something that's regulated in terms of the maintenance on the aeroplanes, the licenses for our crew, etc. So if we stop the machine turning, then it's incredibly hard to start that machine up again. If we, for example, would have had to close down completely for 6 months and then start up, we wouldn't be able to just start up immediately. It's you need to bring your aeroplanes out, you need to start the maintenance on them again. You need to make sure that all your crew's licenses are active. You need to send them to training again. So it takes time to get the machine running again. So we've taken the view that we'll rather make sure the machine ticks along slowly, and then hopefully when they do open up the air travel again and interprovincial travel specifically, we'll be ready to start flying immediately.
Do you believe then there's actually going to be a viable airline or aviation industry in South Africa after all of this?
I think so. I mean, the one thing that we've seen in the past week or two is that I think there's definitely demand. People want to travel. I think just the restrictions that's been put up in terms of specifically where you can only travel for business, or there's a few other reasons like going to take care of people, funerals, stuff like that. But I think once those restrictions are removed, we'll see an increase in demand. It's going to take a while before we're back to the same levels we were, for example, in 2019. The latest forecast by IATA, they think that it will take up to 5 years for the market to recover. So it's not going to be, the market for the airlines aren't going to be there next year again. But it will recover slowly over the next 5 years.
I mean, the reason I ask that question is it goes straight to the heart of whether government support for airlines, and in any kind of way that support comes through AXA or, I don't know, a weather forecasting subsidy perhaps. Is that a good investment? Is that a good use of government money? You would say if the airline industry is going to be viable after this, it is a good use of government money.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things we've also said to ourselves, and you asked why are we flying, we said that, for us to recover as an industry, we need the economy to recover. But the opposite is also true. If we don't start flying and we enable the economy to recover and we enable people to do business, we enable the tourism industry, etc., then the economy also isn't going to recover. So it goes both ways. I think there's enough research and enough papers written about the positive impact that transport, not just airlines, transport in general, the impact it's got on economy. So I think it's vitally important that we do have a healthy airline industry for the whole economy to recover.
Yeah.